Good afternoon, everybody. I don't know about you, but I feel kind of the way I feel when I get to the last chapter of a great book. It's a little bit sad. You start reading slowly because you don't want the book to end. But this is going to be hopefully a fun part of the closing part of our conference. Yesterday at the beginning of the forum, I stood here before you and invited from you your ideas on the most important research questions in the food system, health, nutrition space. And I told you that those questions would guide our thinking at the Wellcome Trust and the thinking of other funders as to the kinds of research we fund in coming years. You did great. We got dozens and dozens of really good ideas. In the last hour, we synthesized them, identified the top 10 ideas, and I'm back here to show you those ideas and to ask you to vote on them. So the first step is to get ready to vote. And the way you do that is to take out your smartphone and get to the voting website. It's actually not on the app, but you can go to the app to get there. If you open up the meeting app and you go to organizer announcements under communities. So first communities, then organizer announcements. The top announcement there will give you a link to the voting website. Or if you prefer, at the top of this screen, you'll see that it says pollev.com/eatforum19, and you can type that in. Let me give everybody a minute to bring that up. Raise your hand if you don't have the website on your phone now. You're not quite ready to vote. Raise your hand. I see only a few hands up, and that means everybody's ready to vote. So let's go. We'll bring question 1 up on the screen. Can we see question 1? Identify or develop nutritious, climate-resilient crops, especially neglected crops. There were several lines of thought that went into this. Some people said we need to get beyond the 12 basic crops. Some people said we need to modify or develop existing crops to make them more climate resilient. We need research on the development of crops. And you can see the group voting developing in real time. We have 30 seconds. You have more than 30 seconds for this because we delayed the start. This is your practice vote. But it does count. So the clock is ticking. You are all voting. Democracy in action. It's a beautiful thing. The basis for your voting is, would I find this information useful? If I had the evidence that resulted from this research, would it help me promote food system transformation? And the time is up. There you see the distribution. That looks like it roughly is around a 4.0 on average. Once we finish with analyzing all of your results, we'll be sharing this with everybody via our website. Next question, question 2. Quantify the role of ruminants in soil health and carbon sequestration. We've heard a fair amount of debate over the last couple of days about this question. A number of people thought that we need more science. Should we do the research? Oops, start the clock, please. Isn't that cool to watch democracy happening on the screen? And we've got 20 seconds left. In 30 seconds, you can be more thoughtful than most voters are most of the time. And this is a slightly lower priority, it looks like. Looks like we're centering on about a 3. Thank you. Next question, and let's start the clock right away as the question comes up on the screen. It is, assess the impact of soil microbiome and human microbiome on human health. There were lots of interesting suggestions on research on the microbiome. This is looking like a leader. It's kind of a Boris Johnson performance here. Sorry. 5 seconds to go. And this gets about a 4 point something. Thank you all. Next question, question 4. And start the clock, please. Develop and test low environmental impact farming and food distribution methods. Lots of interest in what we heard on how we reduce the carbon footprint of the food production process from farm to table. Wow, look at that. You got about 5 more seconds of voting. This may be a top priority, but wait till you see what's coming next. Next question, please. Question 5. What do people eat? Lots of these suggesters realize that we don't have good data on what people eat around the world. Should we put research energy into answering this question? I can see this anticipation in the group. Give me the next question. Good. Let's go to question 6, and we can start the clock as it comes up. What are the most effective methods of changing attitudes and behaviors toward food? This one got a lot of suggestions. What kinds of social marketing work? What nudges work? Use behavioral economics research? Should we develop food labels? Should we develop AI-based apps to help us know something about the environmental and economic and health impacts of our foods? Can we use youth energy, the Greta effect, in changing attitudes and behaviors? Wow. Next question, please, number 7. And we can start the clock. Quantify the environmental, economic, and health impacts of various foods. This is essentially environmental impact analysis, health impact assessments, cost-benefit analyses. What are the economics of the way we eat? Five more seconds, and a special salute to whoever is voting low priority for everything. Next question, please. Number 8. Test the effectiveness and cost effectiveness of various food policies. This is policy research. People wanted to know which policies work. Is it taxes? Is it regulation? Is it mandatory labeling? Which policies work? I'll mention there was a lot of interest in subsidies. What do we do about subsidies? How do we study those to see how they function? Thank you all. That one ranked pretty high. Next question, number 9. We're coming down the home stretch. Quantify the impacts of various food policies on the most vulnerable. We broke this out because a number of people recognize that we need evidence specifically on poor people in wealthy countries, on poor countries, and on how policies affect those most vulnerable people. Five more seconds. I know this is so much fun, you don't want to get to question number 10, but all good things must come to an end. Question number 10, please. And we can start the clock. Where is food wasted? How is food wasted? Why is food wasted? A number of suggestors said, we just don't know nearly enough about that, so we can't tackle the problem until we do. "13 more seconds in this session." Wonderful. What this will turn into is a semi-quantitatively ranked list of research topics. But when we give this back to you, and it'll be posted on our website and freely available to everybody, it'll have more than 10 questions. There will be a full backgrounder listing the 100 or more ideas that people generated, not distilled and condensed as much as this was, but there for you to see in all of its glory. We will share this with other funders as well. It'll inform our funding, and we think that it'll inform funding more broadly. Thank you very much for your participation in the forum. Thank you very much for your contributions to this effort. You will help drive research forward, and that will help drive food system transformation.